Hi, my name is Latasha Arnold. It is often said that we should not let one feature of ourselves define who we are. Our cultural backgrounds shape who we are even when we don't recognize it. From the area you grow up in to your family ties and community outreach, everyone has a social background. Coming from a small town in a rural area, the only cultural diversity would come from news or media. Let me take you on a journey of why I chose to become a social worker. I was born in a smaller community in Atmore, Alabama, where many individuals from our community had the same economic status and shared the same job experience. Many worked at factories or held positions at the local prison. I lived in a low-income, poverty-stricken area. My upbringing would consist of my grandmother taking care of me and my 4 siblings because my mom was only 13 when she gave birth. I'm the oldest out of all, and she had her 4th baby by the age of 18 when she married. I would like to say growing up in Alabama was very vague because my mother moved us to Atlanta when I was around 6 years old. But I do recall some memories of my great-grandmother before she passed away in 1993. I also attended elementary school with the Native Americans because there was an Indian reservation nearby. The tribe was called Creek Indian, and we were taught by them in preschool. This was definitely a cultural experience for me because I've never seen Indians before. Every year they would have a powwow and celebrate life, what we call it. My mom worked 2 jobs just to make ends meet. She worked at a Vanity Fair factory until it was outsourced to China, and she held a manager position at a burger joint just a few miles outside of the town. After working 2 jobs and getting laid off one, my mom decided she would move us to Atlanta, Georgia. After meeting a longtime classmate of hers, they both shared one common goal, and that was making and creating a better life for one another as well as her kids. In January 1995, we packed the car up and left everything behind but clothes and hit the highway. I kept thinking this was the longest ride ever, and I cried the entire way. I didn't want to leave my family and friends, but my grandmother promised me that if I go and things didn't work out, she would come get me. Her biggest concern were my siblings and that I needed to be there for them emotionally. At the age of 8, I didn't quite understand what she meant by that, but today I know exactly why she said I had to go. Moving to Atlanta wasn't an easy task for me, but like any other kid, I somehow managed and adapted to the new way of life. My family enjoys sports. As a family, we attend soccer, basketball, baseball, and even football games. We have season tickets to the Atlanta Falcons and often tailgate at times. We love to take the family on vacation and cabin trips. We also get together for the holidays and birthdays. Since my sister passed away in 2008, we have been getting together for dinner every year on her birthday and her departure day. She's lived on through my niece and nephew, which are now 9 and 12. They are such a blessing. Many of us share dominant and subordinate membership groups, and throughout life, one group may outweigh the other, but we still have direct contact with them both. My first subordinate group is being a female. I come second to a male regardless of race. As a female, I'm subjected to a lesser wage gap, and I can't do the same job as a man. My second subordinate group is being African American, as well as being born into poverty. Poverty in the United States is still at an all-time high, and although I'm living above the poverty line now, I once wasn't. My dominant group, I would say, as being a parent to 2 beautiful children, I'm dominant over. My next dominant group is home ownership, and as well as having an education. Being the oldest of 4, I was fortunate enough to put myself through college and be the first to get a degree. I had the pleasure of interviewing an old high school classmate of mine. Meet Mike. He's 33 and from Cambodia. He was raised here in the South. He lives in Stone Mountain, Georgia. He celebrates several holidays, but his favorite is the Cambodian New Year's. It goes on the entire month of April. It brings in New Year's with food, dances, and different ceremonies, celebrating a great year they had and a great year to come in the future. He would like people to know about their religion What is no different from others, we believe in one entity. A positive on that gets us through life and pulls the good out of us and gets us through all the bad. As far as our culture, I like for people to give it a chance and enjoy some of the amazing food. Meet Aminata Drummond. She's also a student here at GSU in the social work program. She graduates in May. I had the pleasure of interviewing her. Aminata was born in the United States, but her parents are from Gambia. They migrated here in 1975. Aminata is 23 and she just gave birth to her second child. I wanted to dig a little deeper into her religion and gather as much information I could about the faith-based organization. She is Muslim, so I prepared a few questions to conduct my interview. The Soniki culture celebrates two major holidays throughout the year. One is called Eid, and it's after Ramadan. During Ramadan, you must fast an entire month, only eating and drinking after sunset, and cite the first to the fourth prayer from sunup to sundown. The other holiday is 2 months later, and it's called the Hajj, which is even bigger. The guys have to slaughter meat as a sacrifice. It's a 3-day-long process where families gather around the dinner table and rejoice. They also visit other family members and friends and share the same traditions as them. Some common rituals are prayer. Muslims must pray 5 times a day, once at dawn, 2 p.m., 5 p.m., and sunset and before bed. They also must refrain from eating pork, and some even go as far as not eating anything at all that has a heartbeat. Most Muslim women wear hijab, that is the covering worn on their heads, which is to be worn in public at all times. After the post-test, I can truly say that I have become culturally aware of other cultural norms. My goals are to continue to become educated about the many different forms of oppression and to understand groups of individuals who are affected by it. Immersing myself into the culture of vulnerable people who experience discrimination will give me a greater understanding and ability to address their oppression. I am passionate about becoming an ally for African Americans in order to advance their social and economic justice as a social worker. I plan to develop an approach that functions from the strength perspective in order to bring unity to the race. African Americans have been divided since slavery. While doing the cultural emergence, I had the pleasure of attending a mosque with an Islamic friend. I enjoyed the cultural experience. The food, music, and worship center was very interesting. I was able to learn more about the religion and the variety of traditions they have. I was able to interview a deacon who explained to me how the worship service goes and each meaning behind the way they pray. This interview, along with attending the events coincide with the readings, has engaged me in different areas of social work, and I have become more competent and aware of the different diversities I may have to work with. Recognizing my dominant and subordinate status has guided me in becoming more culturally aware. Learning about the connections between social, economics, and power also improved my overall score. As an inspiring social worker, I plan to advocate for individuals on a small and larger scale, whether it be policy making or simply helping their family receive government assistance. I plan to create change and focus on helping people get where they need to be in life. And that is showing individuals how valuable their life can be and giving them a positive outlook on things. Social workers need to be great listeners first and give opinions later. The end. Thanks for watching.